So where have the Dutch farmers disappeared to? There seems to be a government chase on the Dutch farmers, and there's media blackout. The Dutch farmers' protesters being disappeared by government agents and undercover police officers during snatch and grab arrests, according to reports. In Amsterdam, video footage has surfaced showing undercover police officers violently arresting a civilian. The undercover operation level reveals an escalation in tyranny by the government towards the people. And we have various things on Twitter. Undercover police agitators, known locally as Romeos, chased out of the people's protests against permanent COVID laws and in support of farmers in Amsterdam. And the Dam Square in Amsterdam, sequel to the earlier videos, protesters furious with police after the arrest of a protester. And in the Netherlands, the police violently dispersed the protesting farmers. The Dutch authorities intend to oblige farmers to significantly reduce nitrogen emissions, and this threatens many agricultural products with ruin, so they have been protesting for several weeks. The Independent Sentinel reports Staghouwer told reporters that he was not the right person for the job. He held the position for only 9 months and announced his decision Monday night. He had just returned from Brussels. Staghouwer negotiated an agreement with the European Commission to scrap the Dutch exemption to manure spreading limits, and he was then forced to resign. The Netherlands, Denmark, Ireland, and the Flanders region of Belgium had been allowed to exceed caps on how much manure farmers could return to their fields because of the country's comparatively small land area, but Brussels wants to phase out this dispensation because the Dutch failed to meet EU's radical water quality standards. The EU was supposed to be a cooperative trade union, but now Brussels technocrats rule over every UN country in most matters. The country's lucrative agriculture sector has been in crisis since a 2019 court ruling. It forced the government to slash emissions of nitrogen oxide and ammonia, which livestock produce. AP reports say that thousands of farmers have staged protests blockading cities with tractors and burning hay bales along the highways. And according to the AP News, Staghouwer could not meet the September deadline for rolling out the government's radical green policy. The climate agenda involves cutting nitrogen emissions from the nation's farming sector to the point where farms cannot continue operating. The idea allegedly came from Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. There is no other way to produce bountiful agricultural output. No pig farms either. That means no pork. Mark Rutte said, that's his government in Holland, said he respects his brave decision. Parliament member Caroline van der Plas of the Farmers Citizen Movement Party, BBB, said he was totally unsuitable for the job. Bart Kemp of farmers organization Agri-T told NOS that Staghouwer was a friendly man, but not a decisive person. NOS is a Dutch public broadcaster. Staghouwer's role would temporarily be taken on by the former agricultural minister Carola Schouten, and Schouten is very radical and wants to close all pig farms. However, whoever replaces Staghouwer will be worse as long as Rutte, a puppet of the WF, is in charge. Staghouwer faced criticism from the parliament for failing to develop a concrete plan to help the sector transition to farming practices that lower nitrogen emission, according to Dutch News. Officials within his department also resisted plans to revamp the farming industry. It's ESG. The deliberate move away from efficient and low-cost farming aligns with a broader global initiative to minimize and reorganize most industrial activity, and that initiative is known as ESG FEE reports. As Dan Sanchez delineated, the environmental, social, and corporate governance ESG policies have been around in their codified form since 2004, when top financial institutions were tasked by the United Nations with developing guidelines for reforming the financial sector through environmental, social, and corporate governance. The evident goal was to skew the global economy capital investment towards firms willing to fall in the line with the environmental and social issues of the powers that be. And in the past few years, ESG has gone mainstream with little resistance from people in power. In December 2021, Reuters named 2021 the year of ESG investing. And by April of this year, Bloomberg reported few corners of the financial universe have been surrounded by as much marketing froth as ESG, which by some estimates represents more than $40 trillion in assets. ESG has the power to force the values of controllers on everyone. The ESG funds prioritize their controllers' moral values rather than focusing purely on profitability. Those values concentrate on leftist values of race and sex quotas, collapsing the fossil fuel industry and reducing food production, and in the end their policies are racist, sexist. ESG funds are underperforming badly, but that does not stop them. They have excuses for that. This is the fate of the Dutch farming industry. The demands are impossible, and the politicians, the UN, and the World Economic Forum of Klaus Schwab will destroy them. Quote, "For my son, where can he find a living and know what will be allowed in 10 years?" End quote, asked Eric Stegink, a protesting pig farmer in the Dutch village of Bafman. The drastic hampering of Holland's farming industry directly and indirectly will put thousands of farmers out of work, reduce food availability, and increase food prices internationally when food insecurity is rising, FEE reports. And this is by Sean Altima by News Punch. Let's remember that Holland also provides Europe with 40% of its food, dairy and meat as well. Let alone, of course, the flour industry. All the flours in Europe come directly shipped by plane from Holland. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.